So right now, without a doubt, Nintendo is hard at work at creating their next Nintendo system, which is going to be coming out after the Nintendo Switch, and while all the rumors are saying that there's going to be a next generation Nintendo system coming next year at some point in 2024, the fact of the matter is that Nintendo has definitely been working on this system for a while, just as they have to pretty much research everything about it, plan it, and develop it, and have everything ready by the time it's ready to hit store shelves. And from all of this, we've had tons of rumors come out about the production and the chips that they could be using and all of that type of stuff. But today I want to talk to you guys about a feature that I feel like is going to be very, very important for whatever the next Nintendo system is going to be after the Nintendo Switch. And it really could be a mistake if Nintendo messes this up, and I feel like it's a huge deal. A ton of people are always talking about this, so I feel like I should make a video just kind of giving my thoughts about the whole matter, and really how I view it and what I think would be the best choice, as it is something that I feel like is very important. And so what I'm talking about is backwards compatibility, a feature that allows you to be able to play the existing games from last generation on the new generation hardware. Now when it comes to Nintendo and backwards compatibility, they've been pretty good with it for the most part. Like with the home consoles, the NES, SNES, N64, and GameCube didn't really have this, but once they moved to the Wii was actually backwards compatible with the GameCube, as since both of them used discs, you were able to just put in a GameCube disc inside of your Wii, and there was a slot at the top where you could attach GameCube controllers, and you were able to play GameCube games on the Wii. And then even after that, once Nintendo moved to the Wii U, you were still able to play existing Wii games on your Wii U, where there was a separate mode that would actually turn your entire Wii U back into an original Wii, and you could put in all of your existing Wii games inside of the disc slot, and it would still be able to read them and be able to play, so you could still be able to play your Wii games. Now the handhelds is really when Nintendo has been able to excel with backwards compatibility, as we can go all the way back to the original Game Boy, as even when the Game Boy Color came out, you were still able to play existing Game Boy games. We got the Game Boy Advance, where you could still be able to play Game Boy and Game Boy Color games on that. Even on the Nintendo DS, there was still a slot at the bottom where you could play GBA games, and then now we have the Nintendo 3DS, where you can still put in DS cartridges and still be able to play DS games. And so Nintendo's been pretty good at making their systems backwards compatible, and there was even speculation about this with the Nintendo Switch back when it was still codenamed the NX, where you can find forums from like 2015 and 2016 where people were speculating and wondering if the NX was going to be backwards compatible with the Wii U. And a lot of these people even predicted that it would, because of course if the Wii was able to be backwards compatible with the GameCube, and then the Wii U was able to be backwards compatible with the Wii, then sure enough the next generation system is also going to be backwards compatible with the Wii U. But that was before we had the rumors about the NX being like this tablet-like system, and so of course once we got those rumors, people started predicting that yeah, if we're probably going to be getting a system that's going to be more like a tablet, you're not going to be putting a disk drive into there, so we're probably not going to be able to play our Wii U games. And so now once again, we're back to wondering if the next generation Nintendo system after the Nintendo Switch is going to be backwards compatible, and if we're going to be able to play all of our existing Switch games on the next system. Now I'm pretty sure that most people are just predicting that the answer to this is yes, that you are going to be able to play your existing Switch games on the next system, as pretty much all the rumors that we're hearing about the next generation Nintendo system is that it's most likely just going to be a Nintendo Switch again, but it's going to be more powerful, maybe some little extra features like upscaling to 4K and things like that, but at its core it's still going to be a Nintendo Switch. And if that's the case, then there's really no reason why you shouldn't be able to play your existing Switch 1 games on the Switch 2. It's really unless the next Nintendo system is something completely different that nobody expected, where maybe it's using discs again or something like that, where it would be kind of hard to make your existing Switch games still be able to work on it. But even if we take a look at what's been officially said by the Nintendo Global President, Mr. Shuntaro Furukawa, he's kind of started talking about next generation ever since like 2021, where he put up this slide here in one of their Nintendo investors meetings about the future outlook for Nintendo, where we can see here all of their systems that have released, and they've talked about the Nintendo Switch coming out in 2017, but they've also had a question mark here about their integrated hardware-software next gaming system, which is going to be coming out in 20XX, of course some placeholder that the next Nintendo system is going to come out at some point in this century. But basically they were talking about this, and the interesting part here is that they have like this kind of diagram that's showing that the Nintendo account is going to be moving to the next system, as well as value added services, stuff like with Nintendo Switch Online. And even when the Nintendo president is asked about next gen, all of his answers are always about how they can transfer the existing install base that they have with the Nintendo Switch over to the next system. So like one of the questions that was asked last year was somebody saying, how do you think that the 98 million Switch users are going to be compared to the next console? And his answer was, into the 6th year of the Switch, we are still maintaining momentum, and we're looking at how to expand and grow these 100 million users leading into the next gen device. Sounds like the next gen device is going to be backwards compatible, and even in the most recent Nintendo's investors meeting, he even talked about how the next system is still going to be using the existing Nintendo accounts that we all have with the Nintendo Switch and all of that, making it seem like you're going to be able to log in right away with the next system using this Nintendo account, and everything should be seamless. And so backwards compatibility with any video game system is always just a big plus to have, and it also gives an incentive for people to go out and buy the next gen system, as they know that they're not going to be saying goodbye to their existing library. I think PlayStation is the best example of this, where when the PlayStation 2 came out, it was backwards compatible with PS1 games. When the PS3 came out, you could still play PS2 games on it, but for some reason when the PS4 came out, it was not backwards compatible with the PS3. And because of that, a lot of people were kind of sad that you weren't able to play PS3 games on the PS4, but when the PS5 came out, they brought back backwards compatibility with the PS4, where PS4 games can now work on the PS5. And it's because of this that there's actually people that I know who didn't even have a PS4 but bought a PS5 and are still now able to enjoy PS4 games that they didn't get to play because they didn't have a PS4. So it's really cool that they have an existing library of just so many amazing games that they can already play whenever they want. And honestly, it was really good for the PS5 because the PS5 has kind of been struggling with having like really enticing exclusives to get people to go out and buy a PS5. Like this year was finally the year that they started getting those types of games like Final Fantasy 16 and Spider-Man 2 and things like that, but since 2020 when it came out, there haven't really been like any crazy exclusives to make people go out and buy a PS5, but I feel like just having backwards compatibility has always been nice because there are people I know who've been enjoying the PS4 games that they missed out on their new PS5. And of course, the Nintendo Switch does have some amazing games, so being able to play all of those games on the next system would make a ton of people very happy. And so it would be amazing if the next Nintendo system does have backwards compatibility, and I feel like it does have a very high chance of having it, but really there's a small argument that some people make from the other side as for why it wouldn't be the case, and really it doesn't help any of us at all, like consumers and fans, like we do not gain from this at all. It would really just be helping the companies and Nintendo as a corporation, so we do need to talk about that for a second as well. So because the Nintendo Switch wasn't backwards compatible with the Wii U, what did Nintendo do with all of their major Wii U games? They actually re-released them on the Nintendo Switch as enhanced ports. And I mean, we can definitely see that they did really, really well in doing this decision because some Wii U games actually sold better on the Nintendo Switch than they did when they originally released on the Wii U. So we can definitely see like games like New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe was actually at one point one of the best-selling Nintendo Switch games of all time in the top 10, where it sold close to I think like 10 million copies, and that was an existing Wii U game that already came out back in like 2012. Even the most popular Nintendo Switch game of all time right now isn't actually a game that was made for the Nintendo Switch. It's an enhanced port of a Wii U game with Mario Kart 8. Now, if you were like me who bought Mario Kart 8 when it came out on the Wii U, I bought that game day one on my Wii U and I had a lot of fun with it in 2014. So to buy that on the Nintendo Switch, it did kind of rub me a little the wrong way. Like to have to pay $60 again to buy Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I did buy it in April of 2017 when it came out because at the time, because the Switch wasn't backwards compatible, I just had no other games besides Breath of the Wild really to play on my Switch. So I was like, you know what, it's a Mario Kart game, everybody likes Mario Kart, I'll just buy it I guess. So I bought the game when it came out, but I just didn't really like having to pay full price for a game that I pretty much already experienced most of it when it came out on the Wii U. And so even though Nintendo shoved me and everybody else who bought those Wii U games that got ported over to the Switch under the bus, we can see that it was very successful for them, as all of these games have sold extremely well. And so there is that lingering fear of what if the next Nintendo system comes out and it isn't backwards compatible with the Switch, but they decide to re-release all of their big Switch games on that system, and instead we get something like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Definitive Edition, where now it's going to include all of the Booster Course Pass tracks and all the characters and updates and all of that too, and they're going to maybe upscale it to 4K, have better FPS and stuff like that, and then package that and re-release it for like $70 on their next gen system. That's definitely a very big fear that some people may have, and it would definitely be very, very scummy and really bad to do that for all of their big games. And with them already making Tears of the Kingdom $70 and seeing how many people already bought that game, I feel like it's inevitable that the next system is probably going to be seeing $70 big games too. So can you imagine living in a timeline where we have to buy games like that again, where like maybe Super Mario Odyssey does have a few extra kingdoms and stuff, but now it's being sold to you again with like a 4K upscaling, but now it's going to be $70 and you have to buy all of your big Switch games again, like, I don't know, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and Fire Emblem Engage and Metroid Dread and all these other big games that people loved. It would just be horrible. But if you guys want to hear my thoughts about this, I actually don't think that Nintendo is going to do this, and really the big reason for this is because of the amount of games that are on the Nintendo Switch. See, with the Wii U, because the system itself didn't sell that well, Nintendo already knew not to really invest a ton of money into making some huge games for the Wii U, and so while we did have a couple of really good games that did come out for the Wii U, it was like a handful of games that they were able to easily port over to the Nintendo Switch, and while all of them still haven't made the jump either, we are still missing games like Xenoblade Chronicles X and Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD remasters and things like that. We still did get many of these big games like Super Mario 3D World and Pikmin 3 and games like that did come to the Nintendo Switch. And so because there were only a handful of these games, and a lot of people didn't get to experience them on the Wii U because it sold so poorly, it made a lot of sense to make enhanced versions of them and bring them over to the Nintendo Switch. The thing with the Switch, however, is this is one of Nintendo's most successful systems of all time. And in fact, if we take a look at how much software is on the Nintendo Switch, there is actually a total of over 1 billion software that is on the Nintendo Switch. There's over 1 billion games that are on the Nintendo Switch, which is actually 10 times the amount of games that were on the Wii U. So even if we take a look at just all of the big games that came out in terms of like Nintendo first-party games, there's still so many games compared to how many came out on the Wii U, and to re-release every single one of these on their next system, if it isn't backwards compatible, it just wouldn't make a lot of sense. And because this system was so successful with the Switch, a lot of people already played these games, and there won't be that many people who double dip compared to the amount of people because they didn't experience them on the Wii U. And I'm sure Nintendo is aware of this as well, and that's why we always have the Nintendo president talking about how do we take the existing 100 million people who already have a Switch right now and convince them to buy our next gen system too. And a big way to do that would be backwards compatibility by telling them, like, you know what, all of those existing Switch cartridges that you have right now, you're going to be able to put them on our next system too and still be able to play all of those games. And even if you bought them digitally, our Nintendo accounts are still going to be carrying over to the next system, and you can just log in, go to the eShop and re-download all of these Switch games that you bought and still be able to play them. And that's exactly what Sony has been able to do with the PlayStation 5, where pretty much the transition for all PS4 users has been very seamless and easy, and all of them have been wanting to get a PS5 because all of their existing PS4 discs, they can just put them right into the PS5 and be able to still play those games. And even if they bought them digitally, all they gotta do is log in with their PSN account, go to the PlayStation Store, and download all the games that they bought digitally. And so really all Nintendo needs to do is adopt a similar type of strategy when involving backwards compatibility, and I feel like with the existing market and how they know that they need to convince all of their existing Switch users to buy the next system as well, I really do think that the next system is going to be backwards compatible. But yeah, those are pretty much all of my thoughts about the next Nintendo system having backwards compatibility. If you guys enjoyed the video, definitely be sure to click that like button and also subscribe to the channel as well, as I'm going to be having more videos talking about the next Nintendo system as well. So definitely be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Comment down below and let me know what you guys think about all of this as well. Do you guys think that the next Nintendo system is going to be backwards compatible with the Switch? Do you want it to be backwards compatible? What do you guys think? Definitely be sure to comment down below and let me know. Go follow me on Twitter at @ActualAero so you can be featured in videos, and also join my Discord server as well. We've got a bunch of people in there who are always talking about Pokemon and Smash Bros and Nintendo, so definitely be sure to join that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching.